What's going on? And welcome to the Scoped Podcast. This is episode 106 with, I think, Mack and the CEO being one of the last guests we had on in early 2022. Life's a little bit different. Back then, it was just me with the bands, drinking beer in the studio, kind of making a little bit of a mess, having fun, getting a little tipsy, and it was great times. But now I am married. I have a beautiful wife. I've got two beautiful kids, and it's a different stage of life. And I was looking at the Atlanta rock scene, and it needed a resurgence. And this was the perfect time to bring the podcast back. So here we are. We're in the new sponsors of the Scope Podcast, Freedom Brew and Shine here in Cumming, Georgia. This place is so great. One of the best parts is that it's only a mile and a half away from my doorstep. So my wife and I love to come here quite often. It's very fun. Come check it out. You can do axe throwing. You can go to the gun range. They got a fun zone for the kids. It's a really cool place. One time, what was it, Mac? We were here last time with you and your wife, Wendy, me and Aisha, and we were throwing axes, and we were like, I don't know if we can do this. We've had a couple beers. They were like, no. We encourage that. I'm like, that's the American dream. You throw axes after having a few beers. You can't shoot guns and drink, but you can throw axes. So we are back on the Scope Podcast, going to be filming here live once a month to start out. And I'm just really excited. I'm really excited for the guests that we have on today. Without further ado, episode 106 of the Scope Podcast. Let's do it. Step into my world. I'm psyched. Let's go.
Now you're tuning in to the Scope Podcast.
And welcome to episode 106 of the Scoped Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Heaton, here at the new sponsors, Freedom Brew and Shine. And I have the pleasure of sitting down with the CEO. Here we have Bo, we have Mack, we have Chase, and we have Vinny Hornsby. You may know Vinny as the bassist for Sevendust. Now, I don't call them Sevendust. I don't refer to them as Sevendust.
Sevendust.
No, I refer to them as their real name that they should have fought to keep, the great Rumblefish.
We tried for the Rumblefish, but couldn't set.
Someone else had the name.
That's right. That's right.
Rumblefish, man, could have done big things with Rumblefish.
That was one of the names we came up with first. You know, we cut our teeth in Atlanta, and we changed names a couple of times, and then, of course, the whole deal with that.
Yeah, Crawl Space. Now, the internet, I don't think they tell the full story. What were some other names that y'all were considering calling besides Sevendust?
Well, we had Rumblefish, Crawl Space, all that like that. We got signed. CBT Records put us out as Stash at one point on a movie soundtrack. And we were like, you go.
And where did Sevendust come from?
Well, we're from Georgia, you know, grew up on a farm, whole 9 yards, all that stuff. And there's a pesticide here called Sevendust. Doesn't have any meaning for the band. You know, people take it one way or the other, but
I'm just now finding out about it. It was actually called something other than Sevendust. That's what I called it in my whole life. So it was like,
whole life, right?
it's pronounced differently?
Yeah, and we're going to get into more Sevendust, but a funny story about that. One, people would be amazed at the amount of name changes that bands have gone through, even big bands.
Absolutely.
And when we were with Lewis from 10 years at that show at the Well and Cumming last time, I was looking it up. 10 years, their name is so secretive, they've never told the meaning behind it.
What is the meaning?
I have no idea. They've never said it.
And you know, I'm a really close friend with Lewis.
Yeah.
And I still don't.
Y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. Back on the Scoped Podcast. Bo has been on with 7 Year Witch. Mack has been on with the CEO. Chase has been on with The Thrill. And Vinny, you've been on as the CEO and Sevendust too. Back in the day, back in the studio, when it was just simple things. It was a little simpler of times back then.
And you know what the funny thing is? It's great to be here. And, you know, we all appreciate the situation here. And it's great to see you.
Well, that's what the Scope podcast is about, and what it's always been about is bringing you an inside look to the people that create the world of entertainment. Because so much goes behind. We were talking about this, like, Bo, your home studio, and what people see, and let's talk about your first album, the CEO's first album, Redemption, or any Sevendust album that y'all put out. People, they think it's band writes songs, band records songs, band puts out albums. It's not that cut and dry. Is it easier to put out an album independently or on a label? If you have the money.
I don't know. They probably both have pluses and minuses. Obviously, independently, you could just write, record, shove it out there, and then chances are not that many people hear it. But then under a label, then there's a process to it. They've got to create the marketing campaign behind it. There's, it's like, for example, the new record has been done probably 6 months, and it won't be released until early spring. So there's a lot of dead time there, what appears to be dead time, but behind the scenes, the label's doing their thing. They're working on distribution, the packaging, that kind of thing. So both of them have their plus and minuses, but I don't know, easier is one. One is just obviously professional, and the other is hope for the best.
Yeah.
So
you get the marketing from the label, but you also get more input on
and distribution and that kind of thing. I mean, Vinny could probably speak more to about, what the label, does for him, but, a lot of that's changed, and you can tell them, it's not what it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago. At least for us, it's distribution helps a lot. The marketing piece helps it a lot, but it's not what we remembered when we were younger, or probably when you started.
Exactly. I mean, it's been a long time. We started out with traditional labels situation, how it goes. And, it didn't realize it because we were out there doing it, whatever. But you do take a hit, whatever. But you do get in front of people, and this machine behind it, or whatever. Now it's like it's just it's a brand new game. Yeah. So,
I mean, at this point, labels won't pick you up if you haven't already done all the work.
Right.
Like I've seen that firsthand in past bands. Like you can hand them this pretty much finished product and package and everything. You've done all the work. You've built up a fan base of your own. You're good to go, and they're like, "Oh no, need more."
Need more?
They don't want to do any of the stuff. They want you to basically do all the work. In some cases, at least, I've seen that happen.
Like back in the day when Sevendust was first getting noticed, had y'all built up that fan base already? It was a different time where you didn't have to do all the work. Labels went to the bands, like, all right, this band has talent, they have a future, let's put some money into them and build them up.
Right. When we were in Atlanta, we played in Atlanta, we were doing all the bars, Masquerade, all the stuff, hit the rec room, we rehearsed down there, wrote our first record down there, and we play shows. We flyer, we go out, flyer, bars, do the whole 9 yards.
Word of mouth.
It's basically a grassroots situation at that point. We happened to fall into a record deal on accident on that situation. When people came, they went to the wrong place, saw us. Next thing I know, I had a record deal on the table, and we were like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that, we showcased back in the day for all the major labels, got turned down, multiple times, but it was kind of things that's happened for a reason, right place, right time. And we did have a farm, small farm in Atlanta, but once we got started, then we were going into the wild world, and nobody did the word, and it helped, and we toured and shook hands, we did all the things that we do, and built a fan base like that, friendships, everywhere. So that's how it kind of started with that and that situation. I think it needs to happen like that. Still in this age.
I think with social media and everything, how all that works, I think potentially labels expect you to be able to get even further now on your own than it used to be back in the day, where it was all word of mouth and, physically getting your name out there. Whereas now you can be sitting on your ass at home and, put yourself out there. Sure. And they're like, why don't you already have 10,000 followers?
Think about it. There was no social media. And I'm
probably a good
I'm
thing.
28 years old right now. But think about it. I mean, it's a whole different ball.
You get your own TikTok channel, right? You're doing dances.
Vinny's
and
doing
whatever.
TikToks every day, every morning.
TikTok at the Freedom Rule Shine.
He's
Exactly.
got a manager that does his TikTok.
But it's changed. I mean, it all comes down to the core of the music. If you got good stuff, you go out there and do your thing. I always try to tell people that ask me, I said, get out, play as much as you possibly can. Get in front of people, meet people, build bridges.
The old school way is still the best way to do it. Like, yes, putting out a video on social media. If you're a band, especially a local band, and you're not constantly posting rehearsals or teases, then you're definitely not going to have any chance of making it. And I see that from Atlanta bands. I'll see the bands that are like constantly posting, pushing new material, and then the bands that haven't posted in 3 months. And it's like, that's the new age of it, but the old school way is still the best way of getting out there and playing, letting people see your face. The writing process is great. The rehearsal is great. Put that on the social media, and then just get out there and play shows.
Let's do it. Got to get in front of people.
It's all about momentum
Yep.
and keeping it.
And these guys know all about this. They're doing all kinds of stuff. We got multiple things going on.
Oh, we're going to get into that more, but this is how I always do it. I always have a set schedule of where I want to go, and then I just start talking. We're here for the CEO. And Vinny, what was it that the CEO were doing that made you want to jump on board with them?
First thing is I love these guys more than anything. Right. And doing stuff, whatever. I'm just blessed to be sitting at the table right here with all these guys. You know what I mean? And we got together, we started hitting strains and all that stuff. And, it's like, it's turned into a big family situation for me. I love the music, I love his direction, what he wants to do with his thing. And it's great.
Well, my introduction, and Mack and I have told the story so many times, my introduction to the CEO, they had messaged me and we're like, all right, let's meet up at Scofflaw for a beer. We're sitting there having some beers, and before we know it, we're at Chop Steakhouse in Buckhead, slamming bottles of wine and steaks, and me driving home being like, I should have taken an Uber.
Well, that's how you get everything done in this business. A little bottle of wine and Chop Steakhouse, and boom, next thing you know, you're doing a podcast. So that's how this works.
Mack, you are a CEO. You don't need to be in a band.
Oh yeah, I need to be.
So why do you choose to be in a band as a successful CEO?
Well, no one grows up wanting to be a running a bank or a finance company. No one wants to. Everybody wants to. At least I did grow up. I wanted to be a rock star. That's all I wanted. Well, unfortunately, I wasn't. Picked up at the rec room. They were supposed to come see my band. They went to see his. The rest is history. These guys are playing Madison Square, and I'm working at a bank. But all kidding aside, no, it's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a little boy. I mean, I can tell you musicians. I mean, it's in your blood. It's something you do, even if you're a parent and working at a bank and running companies, that kind of thing. It's still ingrained in you, something you want to do. So that's something I've always done. And, just fortunately for me, playing in the scene as long as I have, you get to meet a lot of great people. Got to meet these guys, literally these two guys when they were boys. I mean, these guys were playing. I mean, his guitar was bigger than him. First time I met him. I mean, and I would pick him up with one arm and run around the stage, and he was just ripping solos. And, so I've known these guys pretty much their whole lives. And of course, they know Vinny, and we've all got mutual friends. So it's when he says, it's family, it is. It's really like picking your best friends and your family and saying, you're a talented musician, you're a great guy, but I really love to hang with you. Let's write some music together. And that's the fun part is, you've got, Vinny and I are a certain age group, and then these guys are a certain age group, but they have influences musically. They've got ideas musically that are different than ours. So it's a cool blend of here and here and here and here, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
As the old saying goes, you mesh some old school with some new school.
And that's what it is, and that's what the CEO is, and that's why it works really well. I mean, these guys, what they do in the studio, and the things they come up with are brilliant, and some stuff that I would never think of. And then, Vinny and I got, maybe some old school stuff that we're bringing. I don't know what we bring to the table, but
You nailed it perfectly on that. Because it's like a good, good steak. You're making steaks. You were
Eating a lot of meat right now.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, and the whole thing is we're friends. We've been doing this stuff, and it's it's nice to jam with people that you like. A lot of people do that and could all mesh together, you know. They make great music.
Do you like having that outlet of when you go out on tour with Sevendust? It's the big shows. It's a lot of pressure. The purity kind of being with the CEO and having like a different outlet to write your music and play your music.
Absolutely. You know, get together. I learn something every time I get together with these guys. You know, it's something new. Like Mack was saying, you know, the way we think sometimes and the younger guys think. You know, it's a good thing. It's good. It's a good mix.
And when did you come on with the CEO? He was on the first album, right?
He was. Basically the story was I was looking for something to do musically that was an original thing. I had a few ideas. I got a couple of my buddies together, and basically wrote the first demo album, if you would, and we showcased it and invited Vinny out. And he's like, I like what you're doing here. Let's put you with a proper producer. So he introduced us to the guy that Brilliant, that produced a lot of your records, and got us down there. And it was like, that would have never happened, trust me, if it wasn't for Vinny. And introduced him to him, and we put together the Redemption record. And halfway during the middle of it, the producer was like, "This is good. This is a lot of fun. Call Vinny, tell him to come down." So we called him up and said, "Hey, come on down and play on this thing." And next thing you know, it's just jiving. It's working really well. He's having fun. We're having fun. And album one is first official album is done at that point. And the difference between that record, if I may say so, and this one is that one was kind of done in silos. There's little pieces, parts here and there. He was kind of came in on it at the end. We were all kind of writing in, closets and silos. And this one we got together and sat down together, took our time. We were all in it together, really fleshed this stuff out, and wrote, in my opinion, you never want to see better, but a more mature, a more congruent, a more holistic type record. And that's what I'm really excited about, because we really got to sit with Vinny, pick his brain, really got to sit with Chase and Bo, and just develop this thing. In fact, we not skip ahead, but that producer that did the first one, Alvis Basquette, love him, fantastic guy. He's a busy guy. He's the guy, right now in rock and roll. So it's hard to get with him, And so we're just like, well, what do? We want to put this record out. It's been 4 years, and these guys were cutting demos, that was, sonically amazing. And we're going. So we cut a couple songs with another producer, and it was good, don't get me wrong, but we're like, dude, your demos are every bit as good sonically or whatever than what we're getting now. Why don't you produce the record? So Chase is a co-producer on the new album, and the guy he works with at this production company, those two put it together, and it sounds amazing.
I can't wait to hear it. The Path Remains. We have a world exclusive debut that we are going to do here in a little while. We're going to play Bleed off the album. Bo and Chase, what have y'all learned from Mack and Vinny and what they bring to kind of like you said, different age groups, and what have y'all learned from them musically?
What not to do?
I mean,
honestly, that is a part of it. You get really good lessons from these guys, tell you like, hey, I learned this mistake from, or, things to look out for, especially in this industry. Like, I know I've heard horror stories about, hey, you need to look out for people like this, or, deals like this, doing stuff like this. And it's honestly been very helpful keeping you from getting in bad situations in this industry.
Does that happen a lot where people sign deals without knowing what they truly are, where they get screwed over, or they?
I truly believe that. I'm just talking scared to myself. Yeah. I have had some very unique situations, deals, got through them, whatever. Made some bad deals, did some good deals, you live and learn. When we first came out, I wasn't worried about that. Let's go, let's go, let's get to it. But then get to it, and let's get to it, let's get to it. It's what we did. And, but it works out. Everything works out the wash, but you can analyze stuff too much, I think.
Well, Redemption, which is y'all's first album, I was lucky enough to play when I was on Rock 100.5. It was a great track that got great feedback, and we want to play it right now for someone that's never heard any of the CEO's music. So if we can play Redemption off of the Redemption album from the CEO right here on the Scoped Podcast. That was Redemption from the CEO. We were just sitting here talking about it. They were reminiscing about it. It's already been 4 years since that album came out and 3 since you played any of it live.
That's right. These guys are busy. They're gigging musicians on doing other things, and I've got a company to run. So, for us, it's it'd be a little bit easier now that these guys are producing our stuff, and it's right down the road. The studio's there. We can do it. But there for a while, that's it. Life goes. You have you have babies, you get married, and I got married during that process, and
then 4 years goes by in 3 days.
Yeah. And now I'm gray, so there's that.
You still look good, man. You still look good. Redemption, that album, I absolutely loved when I played it on Rock 100.5, and now with this new album, what's the change from Redemption to The Path Remains? What's different about it? What's going to make it new for the band?
I think the biggest difference between this one is the fact that it was more hands-on from everybody. The first record, Redemption was very much just put together like, I'd be sitting there writing a riff at home and send it to Joe, and he'd put drums on it, and then we'd send it to Mack, and he'd try to come up with vocals and stuff. And then, then we broke it up into 3 sessions. Mm-hmm. I think we went down to Elvis like 3 different times. And so it's almost like I feel like in Redemption, you can always kind of hear us finding our sound throughout the process. And then this time we all got to be like, all right, that's what that sounded like. We know kind of our direction now. And we all got together and, worked for the common goal. And so I think it's 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 really us. This new album is like just all of us put together into one.
Everyone has a say in it. Everyone has a little bit of ideas that go into it. And Bo, you said you're doing this out of your
Out of
your
the
studio.
garage. Yeah,
You're doing it out of your garage.
indeed. Chase handles everything. It's just my garage, but
You provide the space. He's the genius.
exactly. I just go grab the beer when we need a beer run done. Shout out to the Texaco on the corner.
Texaco,
Love it. But yeah, no, it's my garage. Chase has spent the past 4 years slowly, we've been accumulating gear and building a really proper studio setup. There's this, joke online about, oh, come over to my home studio and we'll, I'll record you, whatnot. And you show up and it's one guy with a laptop and this crappy little interface. But no, Chase has built a pretty
That's where we
high
started,
quality.
though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We were literally the meme, but
area. It's comfortable.
You been there?
Oh yeah.
oh, he's there all the time. He's right around the corner.
Vinny's a regular.
Yeah.
I'm basically there pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great environment. It's like you can go in there. I mean, if somebody's got an idea or something or whatever, you just show up in and get to it. And like I said, he's done a lot of work in here.
And Zach Neal, well, shout out to him.
Yep. Doing some stuff, whatever.
Chasing Zach over at CZ Productions.
That's right.
I think people would be amazed that that's how it works. Where when you're coming up with a song, you're not always in the same room being like, oh yeah, this works, that works. You're sending, you said you send a guitar solo or a drum solo or a bass solo or a vocal solo, and then you just put it all together, and that's how you make a song?
Well, I'll tell you a story about that. And you were talking about the difference between that album, the first album, and the new record. A lot of times, if not every time, these guys would go in and record a song on the first record, and they had no idea what I was going to sing. Didn't know the lyrics, didn't know the melody, didn't know what. And when it was done, it was done. And here you go, surprise. And so they heard Redemption the first time that
Redemption.
Redemption, that too. That's the first.
That's the third
First
album.
time. Yeah. So they hadn't heard it. So either, it was like they loved it or it didn't. Same thing with this record. I went in a couple times and just recorded it, and they had input on lyrics. They had input on vocal melodies. A couple times it was like, I think I got something done. And the drummer calls up and goes, I got an idea for a vocal melody and lyrics. The drummer, and he sends it over. And it's amazing. It was like, this is way better than what I wrote. Chase did that plenty of times. So I'd call him up and I was like, I've got nothing for this verse. Do you have anything? And he goes, oh yeah, watch this. And he'll record it, send it back to me, wrote the lyrics. And I'm like, this is brilliant. Way better than anything that I could come up with. So it was a lot of that on this record. So it was like, I'm adding an ingredient, but they're making it better. So that's the big difference for me was it's like, and I'll tell you what song the drummer wrote, if anyone's interested, but
Which one?
It was a song called Divine Line. And I had written something that I thought was pretty cool, but it was kind of stupid. And he sends me over something like, let's hear this. And it was like, dude, this is sick. Great job. Chase did it all the time. Bo had ideas. Everybody. It was awesome.
So, Mac, do you think, as you as the founder of the CEO, do you think the lineup, the talent that you have is just exactly what you envisioned?
Way outclass anything that I could do. And that's what you want. It's no different than any business. If you start a business, you surround yourself with the best possible people in every department you can get. The CEO always gets he gets the accolades. He gets to stand out front. Oh, your company's amazing, Elon, that kind of thing. It's the people around him that make that an amazing company. Same, no difference with anybody that runs any company. So I wanted, not only people that I loved, and I knew these guys are talented musicians, but I absolutely love them. They're great human beings. Man, they'll absolutely outclass me on everything when it comes to music. I just get to sit back and look like I'm cool. While these guys make me look good.
They make you look good, but you get to take all right,
That's
cool.
it.
I'm cool finally.
Yeah, exactly. That's how this works. So I'm just happy to, I don't want to tell them. I'm just happy they let me be a part of it. So
Now, we were talking, y'all all, especially you, Vinny, and y'all are all working on other projects, helping each other out with other projects, writing stuff. Does that not get confusing to be working on a different project and then you're focusing on this one and then you're also on this one? But that's what makes y'all a family, as you said, Vinny, is the fact that y'all help each other.
I got tickled when my boss Jimmy over there. He come in one day. We're all in the studio or whatever, and I'm working with these guys and stuff. I'm gonna go, my stuff too. And what did he say? He said, "What'd you tell him?"
Oh, and that's how we write.
How we got for different things.
Yeah, so he came in and it was like the CEO, Sevendust stuff. My band, He Go Crazy Boy. It's all very similar music, but we try to make it all sound different. And Jimmy asked, well, how do you write similar stuff all the time, but make it work for each project? And the way I look at it is I write each song with the singer in mind.
Right.
Because every singer sounds different. So even if it's similar music, how would Mack sing over this song? Is this, do I think this one's going to sound great for Mack, or sound great for me, or sound great for somebody else? And that's usually the...
That my mind blows me right now. Blows my mind that you write for the singer. How do you have to spend a lot of time around Mack to learn how he sings, how he writes,
Much as he could tolerate.
I've been around Mack since I was 14
At least,
So
yeah.
it's pretty ingrained at this point. Like what Mack does, and then obviously know what I do, and just listen to other people. Like if I know I'm writing a song for somebody specifically, I just try and listen to what they like to do. What they do. But I mean, at the end of the day, as much as I'm a musician, I love the music side of a recording and everything. At the end of the day, the first thing people are going to really notice is the vocals, and so that's why typically, no matter what genre song, it doesn't matter. I try to think of the singer the whole time.
The first thing they notice is the bass. They notice the bass. This guy slapping the bass.
Show up on time for the show. Yeah. Where's he at? This guy, man. He's right about the whole situation. I mean, and that's what's cool thing. When Mack come in on the record, he had a vision, what he wanted to do, and he would say what he wanted to do. These guys would come in there and start whittling away at it. Some of the music had a vision of how you wanted to sing and stuff, and let's work it out. That's the beauty of this whole situation here. Yeah. Studio's cool, great people. You can bounce ideas off people, and there's no
Ego,
situation whatsoever.
I can tell you how we wrote it, and I know you're going to play the first single off the new record. The label chose it. I walked in the studio, and literally before I got there, a Beyonce song came on the radio, and it had this amazing drum beat. It was like a really cool groove. I grew up in roller skating rinks, so I'm all about the old '80s funk, Rick James, the Gap Band, that kind of. I'm all about it. I'm a heavy metal, hard rock, Van Halen, Foreigner, Kiss kind of guy. But I left the groove and stuff. And I mean, this has a really cool drum groove to it. So I'm sitting down with these guys and the drummer, Joe, and I said, here, listen to this drum groove. It's really sick. I was like, I think we could write something really rock and roll over top of this drum groove. And so that's where it started, was just literally, and I was like, I like the drum pattern of this thing. Let's do that and develop off of that. And that's where the song Bleed came from. It was really started with a Beyonce song.
I cannot wait to hear it. I can't wait to play it. And where's Joe today?
I think he's working.
Yeah.
He works all the time.
He works for Fox Sports or something like that. So he's in his business.
He's making the frogs
That's right.
in the country.
Did y'all ever see that video of Chad Smith drumming to The Kill from 30 Seconds to Mars? It was all over social media. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
It was like his first, just hear it for the first time and go.
Yeah, it was just vocals and there was no drum.
Music, but no drum.
Yeah, no drum. So he had to figure out the drum beat, how the drumming went, and it took him like 20 seconds into the song. It's like, oh, it's in key 3 or whatever, and I have no idea what the hell that means.
From the Police did that with a Limp Bizkit song. So you listen to the drummer for the Police on that, and it's amazing. He's never heard before. They start playing. He's killing it. It's crazy.
Luke Bryan's drummer did Gojira on that. I love that series. They drummer's never heard the song before.
Yeah.
Luke Combs' drummer.
drummer
Sorry,
did
yeah.
Gojira.
One of the country guys, but he did Gojira. I was like, wow. Yeah, and honestly, he was pretty close to the original.
I don't see how anybody possibly does that. I don't
Joe
see
could
how-
do that.
I'm sure Joe could. But I just
Just have different brains, man.
like what you have to figure out what key it in. Like, how do they do that? You figure out what key it's in, and then you just
Start swinging sticks.
Yeah.
slinging stick.
Honestly, it's pure
Keys is.
pure instinct.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so mind-blowing. That was one of the things that I came across, and I was like, I got to bring that up because I hate that Joe's not here because I can't ask him like, how is that done?
You
So-
do a Joe Herman episode.
Just have Joe on, and we'll talk about all that. We'll have him do the series on the podcast.
Honestly, a drummer episode would be very interesting.
Get Morgan out here and talk to you.
Morgan and Joe together.
Let's get them into the room and then just, you just let it go. Get all kinds of weird information.
Would you say drummers are the craziest of the band?
You don't want to interview them, but you can let them play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you
kidding.
got to keep drummers in their place. Honestly,
They're just wild hounds.
the second they start having ideas, you got to shut that down.
Yeah, they're writing lyrics and stuff now. It's crazy.
Does Morgan write for some? Oh, yeah.
So he's got a lot of input in life. So, yeah. He's very talented in that kind of stuff. He's got, lyrically, he's pretty good. Yeah. He was, and it's like kind of like that stuff when we do our stuff. I mean, people bounce stuff off each other. Sounds good, sounds cool.
I wanna end the episode later doing the new song, talking about the new album. But I want to talk about a little bit Sevendust because people had so many questions for me when I was posting about that you were going to be on. Y'all have a tour coming up.
We do have a tour coming up. We're going out with Disturb 3 days. Yeah. And that's starting February. Took a couple of months to them. Yeah. We've been kind of staying busy. We just got off the season's run, did the New Year's stuff, Creed, and did all that stuff. And it's running. We're going to go out and do a nice little run with Disturb, which are my great friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I hadn't played the show with them in a long time, and it's going to be a fun situation. Because, when they got together, when they started, they came out with us too. And, of course, they were, boom, shoot and go. But, great people. They've been true friends with me for a long time. I'm hard, fun to deal with them. And we'll see how that goes and have some fun with them.
And y'all have your own headlining dates too.
We got some shows coming.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot of festivals and stuff. We'll get to the situation where we're going starting to do some writing, which we've been doing some writing too, whole 9 yards, get a record probably going later on in the year,
When would y'all want to have a new record out by?
Probably next year.
Yeah.
Probably get it done this year at some point.
I emceed for Disturbed at Infinite Energy Arena. Or now Gas South. They've changed names so many times. And I got to meet David, and just what a nice guy.
Big guys.
Oh, they're great.
Great.
They put on a hell of a show too.
Great show on. It's hard to go tour with them again. We're going to try to do a little more touring in the music a bit. We're excited about it. See how it goes.
And on my way here, I was blasting. I completely forgot about y'all going out with Creed. I was blasting with arms wide open. I just love that. I love it. It never gets old. A lot of people bag on Nickelback or Creed and all that, but those songs, My Sacrifice, love that shit.
We did a couple shows over the New Year's, and I went saw them. They came to Atlanta. They're tied into us too a little bit. I've been friends with them guys, Alter Bridge, Miles Kennedy, all the guys. We've been friends for a long time, and we played some shows with them, and they're bringing the heat. And I'm like, far out. It's good.
Creed's having a huge resurgence, right?
Oh, massive.
I went to a bar in Virginia Highlands the other night. I think it was Neighbors, and it was almost last call, or it was last call. And then with Arms Wide Open, started playing. Whole bar erupted singing it. I'm like, there's like 100 college-age kids in here screaming Creed at the top of their lungs. This is the time to be.
Who weren't even born when that album came out.
Somebody said they wrote that on stage.
Really?
Yeah, that basically the singer was just like, hey, let's write a song right now. And, like, what are you talking about? So he starts to play a little riff, and he starts singing over it, and that song was written. Now, that could just be a crazy rumor, but they wrote it on stage.
And now that you say that, I feel like I remember reading something about
Yeah, that's
that.
crazy.
Who knows, man?
How do you have time to come up with a new song on stage?
We're going to do that at our next show. So, all right, you're on. Let's do this.
But speaking of touring on, Sevendust stuff, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna do this stuff. We want to get stuff out here too. To do some shows, get popped up, ready to go. Maybe we all do a tour with multiple bands here, CEOs, doing. That's what it was. And that's.
Yeah, what are the plans for after this album comes out?
Well, to his point, obviously we've got to work around I mean, this is how a guy pays his bills, and these guys pay their bills. So it's kind of, we got to work that round through that. But when opportunity pops up, we would want to, play some shows, go out there, and obviously we'll have an album release party. We'll do that, and like I said, if opportunities open up for us to play the new record, then we'll do that. Just got to work around some busy schedules.
It's so funny. There are bands that, like the three of y'all have your regular jobs, and then you play music, right? This guy, for some reason, his main job is playing music, and then he comes home and does construction for his fun. Yeah. For his fun. He's like, I'm not working today. I'm not drilling nails today.
Big his name's Jimmy Anderson. I'm looking at him right now. We ain't working today, Jimmy's idiot. We ain't working today. No, listen. Really? No, we're all tied in together. And the way that's what I've done all my life. Trade. I mean, do stuff, whatever, And there is breaks when I'm at home. There's a lot of breaks. I mean, why not do something I enjoy to the point, keep you out of trouble, and then it turns into all this stuff. I ain't scared of driving it. And I kind of enjoy it.
You're not scared to get your hands dirty. You're not scared to get your hands dirty to do some honest work.
Dude loves driving nails. Too many nails sometimes.
Sounds a little
called vintage tracks. Yeah. I missed a lot of things.
But in my house, if you put a giant magnet over it, it'd probably lift off the ground how many nails he drove in that thing.
Well, let me just give you a story on that. So, I mean, this is how I got tied in with all these cats anyway. So, and there's a friend of ours named Steve Taylor, which played in the Blondes back in the day, which I actually didn't stick with the Blondes.
Did you?
At some point, yes. Anyway, me and Steve done it. We grew up and did stuff together and all that business. And anyway, we were off, and I can't remember. I had a lot of time off. Steve calls Jimmy. Jim, I guess he was looking for somebody from work or something. And so I finally called Jimmy. Didn't know him. I called him. He's, I'll call you back or whatever. He didn't call me back, whatever. And then it took a couple of weeks, whatever. And I'm like, hey, man, can I come out and, try to go work with you? What he finally did, he told me, you got a tool belt? And I said, yes, I do. And he said he had to pay me more money than that. So it's just funny story. And the first day I went to work with him, I smashed my fingernails. First day. First damn day. And I said, well, I'm already in deep now. Let's get to it. And that's how that all started. And that's how we all got together and with the boys in here and all that stuff. And it's been great ever since.
Mac, your life is great right now.
Tell me about it.
It's great. Look at these people you're surrounded with.
Way more blessed than I deserved.
You got talented musicians. You got Bo, Chase, Vinny, Joe.
Exactly.
And
where's Joe?
I know. And as you say, they're more talented than you. You're just
by a country mile. But
no, we're just good at pretending.
I just can't believe it's been 4 years since we sat down.
It has been that long.
Or 5. I can't even remember.
A lot of life in between there and there. And that's another thing about the record is, and people, and Vinny will tell you, and you guys will tell you, an album is a snapshot of where you are at that point in your life. So, the Redemption was a very pivotal time in my personal life. So it's reflected in the music. It's reflected in the lyrics. I was getting married and leaving a bad relationship, going into a really good one. And I didn't have kids. And now I've got stepkids and we're moving. So that was that record. This album is 4 years later, and I feel blessed about my life, where we are in this world, where we're going personally, and that's reflected in this album. You'll listen to the lyrics. There's nothing on that album that is heavy lyrically or downtrodden. I mean, it's hard to pretend to be sad or angry when you're not sad and angry. I feel blessed, and this album is, it's heavy, but lyrically speaking, it's hopeful. It's got a lot of really good messages. I feel blessed, and it comes through on the lyrics. And that's the great thing about it. So hopefully 4 years from now, or 3 years or 2 years, whatever, you're in a different slot in your life, and these are like yearbooks. It's a reflection of where you are at that time. So
that's a perfect intro for this world debut, the exclusive that the Scope Podcast has with the CEO off their new album, The Path Remains, that comes out
early spring. No one's heard this, so
no one has heard this. This is the first place you will hear the new CEO Bleed off The Path Remains on the Scope Podcast.
Uncommon crowd out. You'll go through
The CEO world exclusive debut with Bleed off their new album, The Path Remains, that comes out this spring. That was insane. What was the song, River? It had the river in the title.
The River, yeah.
Yeah, it was the river. And it's got like a dancey tune to it, or there's a couple songs on there that are heavy, but they're also kind of dancey.
Well, that. Honestly, that was kind of the charge with these guys. And Vinny will tell you about it. It was like, look, we like it heavy, that kind of thing, but I want it to have some groove to it. And these guys are great with that. Just like, hey, something not just you can dance to, but it's got to, it makes your head bob. And that was really the charge when we first got together. It was like, well, I want to make a record, still rock and roll, still heavy, that kind of thing, but it's got to make your head move. And these guys nailed it. They did a great job.
You didn't want to go full Cannibal Corpse on the come on, let's go full on. Just
The National Drive?
Yeah, that's part 3.
Just give Cannibal Corpse a run for their money, just full on Mack with the death vocals. Mack, you were the lead singer of Blizzard of Ozzy?
That's right.
Yeah. The tribute band Blizzard of Ozzy. And you still have that Ozzy sound in your voice, kind of like in the back.
That's what happened. I grew up writing original material, playing in original bands, being a singer. I was like, oh man, it's cool, but you sound just like Ozzy. And I was like, so I fought it for years. And they were like, you should start an Ozzy tribute. I'm like, no, that's stupid. Nobody does that. That sounds ridiculous.
And then y'all actually got pretty big.
Yeah.
And then it was like, just try it. I'm like, I don't look like Ozzy. This is dumb. And the next thing you know, we're basically touring the country in this giant Ozzy tribute band. And then I was like, okay, this has gotten a little crazy. I need to go back to writing original stuff just to keep.
But that had to be some fun.
Oh my God, it was a blast. It was.
I mean, the stories you could probably tell from your time.
Well, Ozzy's such a character that you get to be a character on stage. It's not necessarily used. And it's funny because when we first started doing the CEO, I had to unlearn being Ozzy and learn who I was.
Yeah.
on stage. So sometimes I'll still get up there and do the hand clapping thing, and I'm like,
It's hard to get out of that once it becomes ingrained in you.
oh
Once
yeah, we
you've
did it
done
for 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's, you know,
It's not something you can turn off like a switch.
absolutely no, not at all. You can't do that. I was like, hey,
You know, I read that Ozzy wants to get Black Sabbath back together for one final show before he's done. I don't care where it is in the world. I don't care how much the ticket costs. I would be at that.
Let's do it.
yeah, we flew out to Vegas their farewell tour. So yeah, it was really good.
Have you ever had the chance to meet Ozzy?
I have, yes.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, I toured. I did a lot of tours. I did Ozfest back in the day where you cut teeth, get started. What was it? 99, right? 99. Yeah.
Is there any truth to the rumor that you guys are Heavy Metal Hall of Fame coming, something like that? Yeah.
Sevendust in the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame?
Get back to Oz. I had a lot of good times with Ozzy. He's a great dude. You know, Sharon almost managed us at one point.
Really?
So, and that's a whole other story there. But they've been super great with us. You know,
Zach Wild.
Incredible.
incredible guy, awesome dude. Had a lot of fun with that cat. You know, I did tour with Black Label too.
Yeah.
You know, that whole group, man, they've been good. But Ozzy, yeah, we always had a great time with him.
There was something I read that one Christmas he drank 28 gallons of beer by himself before Christmas Eve.
Rookie numbers.
My only Ozzy could do that. Only Ozzy. Ozzy or Keith Richards. Those two somehow.
Lemmy could have too.
Lemmy, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Or Keith Moon.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. That song, I can't wait for this album to come out in the spring. The CEO are doing huge things, and I'm so blessed that y'all let me be a part of it. Bo, were you in 7 Year Witch and the CEO at the same time at one point?
Yes, I was actually in the CEO first,
That's right.
technically, and then those guys called me up at the end of COVID, and me and Chase were in another band prior to COVID that kind of, you know, split up at the start of it, and I was bandless for the first time since I was 10.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And yeah, they just called me at the end of the year and needed somebody to play guitar, and I jumped in because, I mean, our two bands, the Two Takes and 7 Year Witch, before COVID, toured nonstop. I mean, 8 of us would be packed up in the same van, sleeping in it, going across the Southeast and everywhere, touring together. So I knew their set like the back of my hand. I never sat down and tried to learn it. Just I'd seen them so many times, I knew it. So I was the, you know, next in line, if you will.
And people think they think of, like, you know, bands going out and touring. Even if they're sleeping in the van, they're like, oh, they're living the life. They're just playing music. They're living free. It probably sucks at times sleeping in a van.
Oh, it sucks a lot, but I love it.
Yeah.
I would rather do nothing else, you know.
That's a young man's game right there, man.
You won't catch Max sleeping in no van.
Partial my own bed and that kind of. So let these guys have that.
We basically lived at Planet Fitnesses. 2 of us get the black card membership. You get a guest in. That's where we showered, work out.
Use the massagers.
Oh, there are a few nights I slept on those.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we took an RV out the last tour I did with them, and there's one night, or there's like a few nights back to back where the propane alarm kept going off, and I'd wake up at 4 a.m. I'm like too paranoid to go back to sleep. I just go out in the parking lot, pace. I'm like, I'm not sleeping in there tonight. Then I was like, we are at Planet Fitness. When it's 4 a.m, nobody's in there. I talked the girl into letting me, you know, basically go into the hydro massage bed, just sleep for a minute. They had like one of these meditation ones too, with like a screen, and I'm just sitting there like under these stars and stuff. And yeah.
Did you ever work out in the Planet Fitness, or you just using the showers and the massagers?
Look like it, but I do work out every now and then. Hit that cardio, stay alive. You know, yeah. Actually, that's what started me going to the gym regularly. Was, I mean, we'd be at Planet Fitness for hours, sleep in the parking lot. I'm like, why not go in and
just do a couple sets, make it worth it, make the membership worth it.
Exactly. You know what? I still go every chance I get when I'm here. Yeah. So low key, that helped me be healthier.
We're all trying to look like Vinny here. We're all trying to look like him.
Get to that. So, you know, we were talking earlier before we started doing this stuff. I mean, looking for the good side.
Thank you.
You're going to do a little bit of
a little bit of competition later this year. You know, see how I got to get down to 7% body fat, or 8%.
how.
I don't know. My wife keeps me in check when doing this. She limits my food. She makes me work out. She's like, get your ass in the gym. You're looking a little fat today, a little soft. And, it's motivation. It's motivation when she.
Good luck with that, man.
Yeah. Me and Mac, we both outpunted our coverage when it comes to women.
By a mile.
I wake up every day. I'm like, this is probably gonna be the day they realize that they're way better.
They've been had.
They've been had. We convinced them. All right. What song got each of you made you fall in love with music?
I know. I'm of that generation where Guitar Hero was the inspiration. My brother had it, and every time we'd have like family get-togethers, he'd pull it out, and everybody would play it. I sucked at it. I could not, even on easy mode, I could not do it.
I was terrible too.
Yeah, and there's one day I'm like, I don't know, 6 or 7. I sit there, I'm like, I'm getting through a song, damn it. And I picked the first song is I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett. I do it on easy. I failed like 10 times back to back to back, but I finally, through just woodshedding it, I got it. I got through the song. I was like, okay, cool, let me do the real thing. I learned guitar. Yeah, so Joan Jett was the kind of impetus
For me, it's Christmas 1977, my first Christmas gift. I had just been adopted. I open up Kiss Alive 2. First, you drop the needle on Kiss Alive 2. It's, one of the best. You got the best is Detroit Rock City, and I fell in love. So I'm like, Detroit Rock City for me, off of Kiss Alive 2. I'm like, I want to do that, whatever that is. It was the gatefold. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So that was mine. So,
for me, the one that got me into really even listening to music was buddy used to drum on the back of the bus seat and sing TNT by AC/DC. And I'd never heard the song. I just heard him doing it. And so first time ever in a record store, I just went to AC/DC and grabbed Live at Donington just because it had TNT on it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to finally hear this song. And I heard it, I was like, this is amazing. I just want to listen to this all the time. And then, so it's like kind of but that got me into music. And then I heard Dream On by Aerosmith for the first time. And I looked at my mom and I was like, people do this for a living? And she was like, yeah, that's what these guys do. And I was like, all right, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and it's a 2-part for me, TNT and Dream On.
That's fun. That's good. Oh, you've got Boston too.
Oh yeah, Boston was my dad taught me some stuff on guitar, typical Smoke on the Water, Iron Man. Then More Than a Feeling. That was a big step up in skill level, and yeah, Boston was my first favorite band essentially, other than like Green Day while I was really little.
Well, a lot of things influenced me or whatever. I came up, my family played outdoor grass, stuff like that. That's what really got me interested in playing instrument at any period. And, we'd get together on Sunday check. Get some started going on Sunday. But they'd pick, and then I always watched them. I want to get into it. But long story short, I picked up the guitars, messed around, got where I could play a little bit. But the first song I ever played with a band, which wasn't a band, it was me, another guitar player. I was playing guitar and a drum. Okay? And we played a song. And the song was Parent. Okay? And we played it. It's the only thing we knew. And we played it 9 million times. Do it again. Do it. We're killing it. And, it was the first time I played with actually a guy with a cheap-ass drum set, whatever we were playing. We were terrible. Didn't matter. Played it 1,000 times. And then we started moving. We were another song. But that's when I knew I kind of like this. And sitting in Kiss Alive 2 thing, video on the same page with that. Mm-hmm. I put it on, turntable, whatever. We're sitting there, air dropping, and running the whole backyard. So there. But the first time I actually played, we had these old PBS, Crank 210, sound terrible, whatever. Just noise, jamming, paranoid. It's great. And I said, I'm in.
Well, for me, wrapping this up, for me, it was Bad Company's self-titled album. It was Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. And then my favorite song ever written, Angry Eyes by Loggins and Messina. Yeah. There you go. And of course, the great Here I Go Again by Whitesnake.
Of course.
Of course. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been episode 106 of the Scoped Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, guys. CEO coming out with The Path Remains later this spring. It's going to be a killer record. Vinny, I know you're just absolutely thrilled to be a part of this project.
Thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled about the record. It's going to be great. Get to it. Have a good time with it.
That's right.
Get some strain. Let's get out there.
And Sevendust going out with Disturbed, 3 Days Grace, new album from them, getting under works here in the summer.
And the works
So
is sunny.
big things. And Vinny's going to hit some nails in the meantime. All right. Guys, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Absolutely.